So statement showing liability of the underwriter. Statement showing liability of the underwriter. We have particulars A, B, and C. So we start with the gross liability. One lakh is to be divided in the ratio of this 4:3:2. 4 is to, sorry, just 1 minute. We can't divide it actually in the we can't divide it in the ratio because the entire 1 lakh is not uh, underwritten. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I can't divide it. I just have to say what is 40% of 1 lakh. That becomes 40,000. Okay, how do I get this? I can't divide it in that ratio because it's not the entire issue that's underwritten. So it's going to be 1 lakh into 40%. 1 lakh into 40%. 1 lakh into 40%. Then we have for B it is 1 lakh into 30%, which will be 30,000. And for C it is 1 lakh into 20%, which is going to be 20,000. If I divide it in the ratio of 4:3:2, listen what will happen. What would happen is I would have been dividing the entire 1 lakh. Right now I can't divide the entire 1 lakh because 10,000 is still taken up. 10% is still the responsibility of the company. If I add this up, it comes to 40 plus 30, 70, 70 plus 20, 90. If I divide it by, if I had done it in the ratio of 4:3, I would have been dividing the entire 1 lakh. And this would have come to 44,000, this would have come to 33,000, 22,000, which would have been wrong. Okay, so it has to be done this way. Next, we minus the marked applications, less marked applications, less marked applications. So here we have 35,000, we have 26,000, and we have 14,000. Okay. So basically the net liability comes down to, I told you we don't minus the unmarked applications. So basically A's liability is actually 5,000 shares, B's is 4,000 shares, and C's is 6,000 shares. Okay. I'm just trying to do that calculation to just explain what has right now happened. Uh, Okay, now just let's try to look at this how this has worked. Okay, now the company was responsible for 10,000 shares because the remaining 90,000 was underwritten. Okay, now let's see the total applications were received were 80,000 shares. Now out of 80,000, this goes as marked, and the mark comes to 20 plus 30, 30,000, 40,000, 75,000. Okay, so 75,000 were marked. That means 5,000 were unmarked. That means this 5,000 are in favor of the company. So out of 10,000 shares, the company has already done 5,000. Remaining 5,000 are yet to be done by the company. Okay, but out of the 90,000 shares which the underwriters have underwritten, okay, 5,000, 4,000, 6,000, 10,000, 15,000 are yet to be done, and that is going to be done by the underwriters. So remember one thing, we don't minus the unmarked applications here because those unmarked applications are in favor of the underwriters. Those unmarked applications go in favor of the underwriters. Okay, so if you look at just to understand the whole thing the total issue here was 1 lakh. The total issue was 1 lakh. Out of 1 lakh, the public subscribed to, out of 1 lakh, the public subscribed to 80,000. Okay, so basically 20,000 was left. Basically 20,000 is the other share not taken up by anybody. Let's understand it better. 20,000 other shares not taken up by anybody. Okay, now let's see how this 20,000 are divided. Now, if you see here, this underwriters out of this 20,000, the underwriters have to take up how much? 6 plus 4, 10, 15. So, who's going to do the remaining 5? The remaining 5 will be the responsibility of the company. Okay, the company has already got 5,000 in its favor from these. Like this comes to 75. So, 5,000 already in favor of the company. Remaining 5,000, the company will have to find a way of selling off the shares. 15,000 are going to be taken up by the underwriters. Okay, so if I just want, I can write out of, this is just out of 20,000 shares, out of 20,000 shares, 15,000 will be taken up by the underwriters in total, and the remaining 5,000 shares will be the responsibility of the company. You don't need to write this. Written this. I've just written this to understand it better. Okay, just to understand what has happened. What you have to do is only this much. Anyone has any questions? Any questions, students?